You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Martin Luther King Jr. Hi friends, welcome to the Piece by Piece podcast. My name is Mackenzie, and if you're anything like me, trying to balance everything in your life sometimes leaves you feeling drained, overwhelmed, and fearful. If you're wondering how you can find joy in every situation, magic in the mundane, and rest for your soul, I'd love to have you join me as we uncover simple practices to point us back to peace. Today's episode is inspired by the name of the podcast. Our lives are made up of pieces. It's not the whole picture all at once, ever. Well, that's obvious. I think a lot of us want perfection and become discouraged when that doesn't happen. Today I'm going to share with you how I'm learning to be at peace with that and how you can too. My husband can juggle pretty well. 2 hands, 1 hand, random objects of different sizes. He can do it all. Well, maybe not all. I wouldn't ask him to use fire or knives or puppies. I, on the other hand, can't juggle at all. Honestly, I don't think I've ever tried. I just think it would end horribly for me and all objects involved, and any onlookers would just feel sorry for me. I don't understand how you let go of objects so that they're flying in the air while you only hold one thing for one moment and then you release it. I feel this way about a lot of things in my life actually, although I'm learning how not to. I just don't feel like I can juggle it all. Maybe you feel this way too. How do we feel the best physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually at the same time? How do we spend time with God and not make it feel like just something to check off? How do we accomplish our to-do list and make time for fulfilling rest and creativity and intentional time investing in our friends and family? If I have a partial grip on even one of these areas, I feel like the rest are on the ground somewhere, bouncing or rolling away. Something I really love is watching morning routine videos on YouTube. Some people watch The Office 20 times through as entertainment. I watch morning routine videos. Seasonal ones, early morning ones, healthy ones, cozy ones, productive ones, the same person multiple times a year ones. You get the idea. I really love morning routine videos. Strangers showing me how they start their day is fascinating, but like in a sad way, because I always feel like I need a new routine. How do people get up that early every day? How do they have time and energy to go for a run, practice yoga, read their Bible, journal, pray, grind their own coffee beans for their morning brew, make and actually enjoy a green juice, make a protein smoothie bowl, walk their dog, shower, and get into clothes before starting their workday at 8 a.m.? All of that sounds exhausting just saying it. I get inspired by watching morning routine videos, but the routines I want and create for myself just never seem to stick. I think to myself, well, if I can't have the whole morning routine of all these routines that I'm watching and have it be perfect, then I'm just not going to have one. I'm not going to try. Why do one thing at a time if I can't do the whole thing at once? I realize my logic is not great, but I'm just telling you where I'm at. And this is an attitude I have that spills into other areas of my life. Not only do I feel like I can't juggle it all, but I think that if I can't do everything in life perfectly, then why would I try? If I can't be a person who enjoys my workouts 4 to 5 times a week, why would I bother starting with once a week? If I can't spend an hour in prayer every day, why would I bother praying at all? If I can't find a close community of friends in my new town by the end of the first week living here, I'm just going to assume I'll never have any friends. When I say it like that, of course I see the flaws. But this is the mental habit of thinking that I'm learning to fight against every day, multiple times a day. I promise I'm not a hopeless person at all, quite the opposite. But there are areas of my life I know I could feel more fulfilled in, or have more joy, or more peace, if only I was willing to try. And maybe you feel that way too. If only we didn't see all of the potential problems or reasons why it wouldn't work, so that we just give up before trying. This is where piece by piece comes in. This mentality means forgetting the idea that life has to be perfect and learning that small shifts and habits in our lives can bring us the peace we need to be pillars of hope in a chaotic and uncertain world. I want you to reject the idea that we will only be at peace when everything in our life is perfect, and instead figure out how to have peace in the chaos and stress and indecision and uncertainty. Because that's what life is. It's exciting and difficult at the same time. It's joy and grief wrapped up in the same present. When we come to terms that life is full of ups and downs, but we get the choice of being flexible and learning, that's when we start to grow. Do you feel behind, unworthy, frazzled? Do you feel far from God and don't know how to change it? Do you want to be the healthiest version of you in all areas of your life? Are you anxious or overwhelmed or distracted? Do you fear failure? Do you feel like you need a safe place to rest for a bit? If you answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. You're not alone, and I want nothing more than to remind you that God has very intentionally created you. You can make our world a more beautiful place by fully contributing who you are, wherever you are. This is a podcast for the overwhelmed, anxious, and fearful, and it will be full of simple practices to point us back to peace, and to point us to our Heavenly Father, the one who gives us peace. You aren't behind. You aren't missing out. You are right where you need to be today. Wherever you are right now, you don't have to have everything in your life figured out. If there are certain areas of life you wish were better, or there's a goal you want to accomplish, just take one tiny step today and know that that's more than enough and something to be proud of. Don't get overwhelmed by all the steps or knowing what it will look like at the end. Just focus on one tiny change, and over time, that will change everything. Thank you for listening to the very first episode of Piece by Piece. Every week, there will be a short episode for you right here of something I'm learning and need to remind myself, and I want you to remember as well. And today, that reminder is life doesn't magically all come together perfectly, ever. And especially not all at once. And that's where we find freedom, when we can remember that. So find hope in that today. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love if you subscribed and joined me for future talks. You can also find me on Instagram at mackenzie.hickson, that's Hickson with an X and an S, and also at mackenziehickson.com. I'll talk to you soon.